What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, what is moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi is up 1.39%, 26.28 the low, 26.88 the high, and very low volume, so 11.6 million shares being traded. Of that 11 million, you can kind of see it is somewhat mixed. So on the secondary market, anything with a bid is a sell, anything with a ask is a buy. So as you can kind of tell right here, it is somewhat mixed for today. So institutions don't really know how to kind of digest everything that has been happening so far. So a couple things to take note of. We did have some key data. So we had existing home sales coming in at 4.13 million versus a forecast of 3.9. That's a big deal because the feds are going to be looking at two things now, labor and the housing market. So in general, that's somewhat mixed. And then Michigan consumer sentiment came in at 52.9, forecast of 53.3. So as a byproduct of that, the likelihood of a cut for the upcoming January meeting did go down slightly, because again, existing home sales was fairly positive, so came in at 19.9. So at the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see. For those of you that have been watching my channel, Thursday evening was also a big deal because we did get a interest rate decision from Japan, and they did in fact raise it 25 basis points. So you will most likely see kind of lower volume over the next little bit. So it's not going to be instantaneous, but this is going to initially cause a pinch on the American bonds. And plus, even aside from that, I think Japan is anticipating for several more rate hikes up until it's around that 3.25%. So again, that's going to eventually cause a pinch, not instantaneous. So again, something just to kind of keep in mind. But over and above that, though, there is one data point that generally I like to kind of look at, and that was this. So over the last week, we did have $10.74 billion that left crypto and equities to go to money markets. So there is kind of less and less volume really getting into equities, which is rather unfortunate. So hopefully if we get some good data over the foreseeable future and the market actually does start to truly believe in a January cut, this is where maybe you might start to see some money rotating back into equities. But at least for right now, anticipate kind of lower volume. One thing that I do want to kind of bring up, so far, no news from SoFi, no SEC filings or anything like that. SoFi Insider. So for those of you that kind of follow him on Twitter, some of his posts are very, very just crazy and just outrageous, but he's been very accurate in some cases. And so he's been saying that SoFi might have paid 18 million for BlockFi. So, and he kind of brings up the acquisition that was from 2023 Wyndham, but nonetheless, BlockFi. So the last thing that we know was that technically FTX was wanting to purchase them way back in 2022 for 240 million. Unfortunately, we kind of know how that did turn out, but there was and is ultimately some proceedings that is starting to occur. So BlockFi did go Chapter 11, so restructuring because of various things. It's actually still stuck in limbo, but it was actually rescheduled to January the 9th, as you can kind of see right here. Actually, my apologies, January the 8th. So in general, in here, they could announce something big. Of course, I think the time and the place, this would just come out saying that instead of restructuring, they're going to be simply selling. And I'm sure the creditors would be in favor of it because I'm sure they'd get more money, like more than 10 cents on the dollar, essentially. So yeah, I think in general, this potentially, again, if SoFi Insider is accurate with this information, not only would SoFi be getting a crazy discount on this company, but we might be hearing from it early 2026, such as, again, right over here. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from all of that, looking at shorts are currently increasing 79,000 shares, so nothing too crazy right now. 9.19% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 113.8 million shares overall being shorted. So for those of you that kind of watch my daily SoFi videos, you would know that normally the cost to borrow minimum goes negative. Very rarely does the cost to borrow average go negative. So right here, you can kind of see cost to borrow average negative 0.11. That's an annual rate, not a daily rate, so it's not significant, but still that definitely does show that there is numerous brokers out there physically paying people to short SoFi. So you have that level of sketchiness, and then you still have right here shares on loan 112 mil versus number of shares being shorted 113. So there's more shares being shorted than on loan. So that's sketchiness point number 2. So definitely a lot of things happening with SoFi behind the scenes. Aside from all of that though, 9.5 million in calls, 2.3 in puts, and then 44% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around $27 for the most part, closing above that today. Today is quad witching, so in the second half of today, anticipate a lot of volatility. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of 25.50 to 26 for the most part. With today being Friday, this is the open interest, and this is actually why I wanted to do a SoFi video earlier rather than after hours or once the market closed because of this data. But right now with that 26.60 and change, so some relevant ones. So at the $25 strike price, we have 6,000, 10,000 at the 26, 6,000 at the 26.50, and then 25,000 at the 25. So best case scenario, SoFi continues some good momentum. It really pushes above that kind of $27 mark. Right now with it at 26.62, smack dab in the middle between this pivot and this S1, 26.48 and 27.10 is going to be the next strong support as well as target. Aside from all that though, quickly popping right over here. So on the actual chart itself, it's still not like it's okay that SoFi is kind of moving higher, but still it is below the 10 and also 100-day moving averages. So it really needs to, for sure, in my opinion, close above that today if you're going to see a nice recovery going into kind of next week. I know a lot of people on social media are still really wanting a Santa Claus rally. And if one does come, literally leaving it right down to the last minute, as crazy as that is. You can kind of see as well from the flow, algorithmic trading does make up for another day of significant volume. And this is something, again, matching with what I've signaled linked to the whole Japan interest rate hike. So institutions aren't really doing that much anymore. It's just AI trading back and forth, which is probably what's going to be happening in the foreseeable future. But stochastic RSI, one positive is the fact that it is very oversold. So let me know your general thoughts on SoFi. Are you buying? Are you selling? When it comes down to this, do you actually believe in SoFi Insider that there is some acquisition? So with that most recent podcast, clearly, like, cryptocurrency is a hot topic for SoFi going forward. So logically, like, if SoFi was able to get like BlockFi for 18 mil, whereas 2-3 years prior it was worth about 240, logically, like, that would be a pretty good deal if you actually think about it. And that might also at the same time justify why SoFi did a recent acquisition, possibly for this, as well as just to add more security as a moat. So let me know your general thoughts on SoFi in the comments below. One thing that I'm also going to be doing, so if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, I just lowered this for this weekend as a promotion. So whereas it's normally $50 a month, I lowered it down to 20, currently 99 members. So if you're looking for some solid buy signals on everything that I mentioned, pop over there, sign up, because if you lock in the $20 a month, it will not increase whatsoever. So this is only for this weekend only. Started a little bit early, but nonetheless, with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.